In late January and early February 2026, heavy snowfall blanketed northern Japan in a relentless white shroud. In Aomori Prefecture and on the island of Hokkaido, this was more than just a weather event. It was a profound test of the human spirit. Today, we're not focusing on numbers and statistics alone. We're talking about people, about parents desperately trying to keep their homes safe for their children, about neighbors reaching out to help one another, about the fear, the pain, and the quiet hope that rises even from beneath piles of snow. This is the story of an entire community facing an unending storm and how they hold together through it all. In the city of Aomori, a single day, February 1st, brought nearly 183 centimeters of snow. Imagine that! 6 feet in one day! Streets narrowed to barely passable paths. Roofs groaned under the crushing weight. Many residents felt helpless as their homes slowly disappeared under the deepening white. But the hardest part was the human cost. 2 people lost their lives, and nearly 90 others were injured, most while trying to clear snow on their own. An elderly man on his roof, determined to protect his family from collapse. A woman helping her elderly neighbor. A young father clearing his driveway so he could get to work. Ordinary daily tasks turned into life-threatening risks. Many injuries came from heart attacks or falls from rooftops. Picture the feeling: biting cold, exhausting physical effort, and the constant fear that the roof might give way at any moment. Yet in the middle of this pain, something beautiful emerged: the strength of community. Local authorities called in the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. Soldiers in heavy gear climbed onto roofs to save homes and the families inside them. In Hokkaido, the story was different but no less heartbreaking. Around Sapporo, some areas saw snow depths exceed 2 meters. New Chitose Airport shut down completely for days, leaving around 7,000 passengers stranded inside the terminal, some with small children, some returning home after long trips. Suddenly, no flights, no movement, just endless waiting in the cold. Trains stopped. Highways closed. Trucks carrying food and medicine were delayed for days. Imagine a family waiting for critical medication for a chronically ill loved one, or a mother trying to reach her child in another town. The feeling of isolation was overwhelming. But the people of Japan did not give up. In the airport, strangers shared food, volunteers helped the elderly, and people told stories to lift each other's spirits. In neighborhoods, groups of neighbors formed to clear snow together because working as a team is safer, and it reminds you that you're not alone. What can we learn from these people? How do we face storms like this with strong hearts and safe bodies? First, never work alone. Clearing snow from roofs is extremely dangerous. If more than 1.5 meters has accumulated, call for professional help, the self-defense forces, or organize neighborhood teams. Your life is worth far more than any roof. Second, listen to your body. Cold and heavy exertion strain the heart, especially for older people. Take frequent breaks, drink warm fluids, and don't push yourself beyond your limits. Third, stay connected. Check on elderly neighbors or those living alone. A simple phone call or quick visit can save a life. Fourth, in times of isolation, whether stranded at an airport or cut off in a remote village, stay calm and support one another. Share food, play with the children, talk, because human connection is what truly warms us in the coldest moments. In the end, this snowstorm did not break the spirit of the Japanese people. It revealed how unbreakable it is. We saw sorrow and fear, but we also saw solidarity, patience, and quiet determination. A nation that faces nature with respect and cooperation, emerging from every hardship stronger than before. As the snowfall intensified across northern Japan, the storm became more than a meteorological event. It became a test of endurance, discipline, and collective resilience. In Aomori, where snow accumulated faster than it could be removed, streets narrowed until movement itself became an effort. Familiar neighborhoods disappeared beneath white layers that reshaped daily life. For residents, each morning began not with surprise, but with quiet calculation: how much weight the roofs could bear, how long the roads might remain open, and how much physical effort the day would demand. In these communities, winter is not new. It is expected, respected, and prepared for. Yet, even for a society deeply accustomed to heavy snow, the persistence of this system created a different kind of pressure. The danger was not dramatic or sudden. It was slow, repetitive, and exhausting. The human cost emerged through routine actions: clearing rooftops, shoveling walkways, reaching outbuildings to restore heat or access supplies. These were ordinary tasks, but under extreme conditions, they carried extraordinary risk. Each injury and fatality echoed through the community, reinforcing a shared awareness that survival depended not on strength alone, but on restraint and caution. Local authorities urged residents not to work alone. They asked people to rely on organized assistance and professional crews. These messages were not signs of weakness, but recognition of limits and acknowledgement that endurance must be managed, not forced. In Hokkaido, the impact unfolded on a larger scale. Around Sapporo, snow depths reached levels unseen in decades. Transportation systems slowed, then stalled. Airports closed repeatedly. Trains stopped and restarted in cautious phases. Thousands of passengers waited in terminals, not in chaos, but in silence. What stood out was not panic, but patience. This calm is often misunderstood. It is not indifference. It is a learned response, a cultural understanding that control begins with composure. Even as schedules collapsed and plans dissolved, people adapted without confrontation, trusting systems designed to prioritize safety over speed. Behind the scenes, however, the strain was immense. Snow removal crews worked through the night, municipal budgets stretched. Emergency services responded to rising medical calls linked to exhaustion, cardiac stress, and falls. The psychological toll accumulated quietly, just like the snow itself. Fatigue became the defining emotion. Not fear in the dramatic sense, but a deep, persistent tiredness, physical and mental. The kind that comes from repeated exposure to risk, cold, and responsibility. In many households, conversations shifted. Less talk of inconvenience, more concern for health. Less focus on deadlines, more on simply getting through the day safely. And yet, the social fabric held. Neighbors checked on one another. Shelters opened for those cut off or without heat. Military units assisted civilians without spectacle or celebration. The response was deliberate, methodical, and grounded in cooperation. This is how Japan faces prolonged adversity, not by denying vulnerability, but by organizing around it. Psychologically, the storm reinforced a long-standing relationship with nature. There is no illusion of dominance. Snow is not something to conquer. It is something to endure, manage, and wait out. This perspective shapes emotional responses. It reduces panic, but it also demands emotional discipline. Over time, that discipline carries weight. Medical authorities observed increases in stress-related incidents. Emergency planners acknowledged that prolonged events challenge even the most prepared populations. The danger was not one catastrophic moment, but the accumulation of small risks repeated day after day. Still, daily life continued slower, heavier, more cautious. Children adapted to altered routines. Workers accepted delays. Entire cities adjusted their pace. In doing so, the storm became part of the collective experience, not as a story of chaos, but as a reminder of shared limits and shared responsibility. As the snowfall eventually eased, the psychological impact lingered, not as trauma, but as quiet exhaustion and pride. Pride in having endured without fracture, in having prioritized safety over urgency, in having acted as a community rather than as individuals pushing beyond reason. In Japan, resilience is not loud. It is measured in patience, cooperation, and restraint. The storm passed, but what remained was a reaffirmation of how this society lives with nature's extremes by respecting them, preparing for them, and facing them together, one careful step at a time.